Hi guys, it's Thursday. It's an absolutely beautiful day outside today, so I'm going to try and keep today's video nice and short because you guys, I hope, are outside and I want to get outside to play with my dog. I was looking at a lot of your suggestions and requests of things that you wanted to make, and the one that I thought would be the quickest so that we can all get outside and enjoy the beautiful weather is pizza dough. So today I'm going to teach you how to make pizza dough at home. So here are the ingredients that you're going to need to make your own pizza dough. You're going to need 2.5 cups of water. You're going to need 1/4 cup of sugar. You're going to need 2 teaspoons of salt, 3 teaspoons of yeast, 1/4 cup of vegetable oil, and 6 cups of flour. So our first step of making pizza dough is going to be allowing our yeast to proof. And basically what that means is we're just going to wake the yeast up. So I have warm water in here that I'm going to pour in. We've got 2.5 cups of warm water. And basically you're going to want it as warm as, not really you can handle, but like a warm that feels nice on your hand. If it feels hot, then it's too hot. You want it a nice warm. Next I'm going to add 1/4 cup of sugar. Sugar is food for yeast, so the yeast is really going to feed on that. And then I'm going to add 3 teaspoons of yeast. 1, 2, and 3. Now I'm doing this all in my stand mixer. You don't have to do that if you don't have a stand mixer. If you feel like getting a little arm workout today, you can just do this in a bowl and do it all by hand. But like I said, I'm trying to do this quickly because I want to get outside, so I'm going to make it all in my stand mixer. So we have our warm water in there that's going to help the yeast wake up. We have our sugar in there that's going to feed the yeast, and we have the yeast in there. Now we're going to let it sit, and we're going to come back in probably 5 minutes. And if it's nice and frothy, then we're ready to go on to our next step. Got this one whining over here because she wants to go outside so badly. We'll go out in a little bit, don't worry. So based on all of those bubbles that you can see that have formed on the top of the water, this tells us that our yeast is ready, our yeast is doing its job, it's eating, it's giving off carbon dioxide, and that it's going to give us a nice fluffy dough. So now that that's all ready, we're going to add our 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. And we're going to give it a little mix. It'd help if I plugged it in, I bet. There we go. Start adding my flour. So we're going to do a total of 6 cups of flour, but what we're really looking for is a sticky dough. So I'm going to add 1 cup at a time until we get to a nice sticky dough. So I've now added half of our flour, so that's 3 cups. So I'm going to slowly sprinkle in the salt. We had 2 teaspoons of salt in here. Now what salt does for a yeast bread or dough is it slows down the yeast from working too hard so that it doesn't create too many air bubbles. So now that the salt is in there, I'm going to keep adding the flour. All right, so I have added about 5.5 cups of flour, and the dough is starting to pull away from the edges, but it's still pretty sticky. This is how that I know that it's just about done. So I'm gonna turn it off. I'm gonna lift this up. Now, if I take some in between my fingers, I still want it to be wicked sticky. That's good, that's what I want. Now I'm going to get a separate bowl. I'm gonna put a little oil inside, and I'm going to scrape all this dough in to allow it to rise. So now the dough is nicely coated in oil. It's in the bowl, it's ready to rise. So we're gonna let this rise for about an hour. What we're looking for is it to be doubled in size. So I'm gonna be looking for it to come probably up to here in the bowl, if not more. My dough's been rising for a little over an hour now, and it's definitely doubled in size. I covered it before I let it rise, so that it could hold its moisture, kind of keep the moisture in there. You can see on the saran wrap that it would have lost quite a bit of moisture if I hadn't covered it. At this point, if you were to turn it into pizza, which I'm not going to, I'm saving the dough to teach you guys how to make something else tomorrow. But if you were to turn it into pizza, you would want to preheat your oven to 475 degrees. And you would divide this up into 3 equal pieces if you wanted to make smaller pizzas, 2 pieces if you want a medium, or if you want a really large pizza. If you have a really big oven, you can keep it in 1 large dough ball. You would take those dough balls and you would place them on a very well floured surface, and you would begin to stretch them just like you would with a store-bought pizza dough. You would stretch them out into a circle to make the base of your pizza. At that point, you can put it on a pizza stone if you want, or you could put it on a cookie sheet, or you can just continue to build it on your counter. Not a pizza stone, a pizza peel, sorry. That's those wooden cutting board looking things. Let's see, I think I have one. So this is a pizza peel. You could build it on a pizza peel. Just make sure to put flour down, or cornmeal down is even better, that's more traditional, before you start building. So you would have your pizza dough down here, you would put on however much sauce you want, and then you would add whatever toppings you want. So your cheeses, your pepperoni, sausage, peppers, mushrooms, onions, whatever you're gonna add, and then you would slide it into the oven. If you're doing a pizza peel, you would have to have a pizza stone in the oven already that's nice and hot, heated up to that 475 degrees. If you don't have a pizza stone, you're just gonna wanna build it on a cookie sheet. And then you would put that in the oven for probably 10 to 15 minutes. You'll be able to tell pretty easily when it's done cooking. Keep in mind that the dough is raw, so you are going to have to cook that thoroughly, which is why it is 10 to 15. You're gonna wanna look for a really nice golden brown crust, and you're gonna wanna make sure that all of the cheese is melted and all of the toppings have been cooked. And that's that. That's how you're gonna make pizza dough. Tomorrow I'm gonna teach you how to do something else with this pizza dough. So what I'm gonna do for now is I'm going to punch down the dough. Now it still has a lot of oil on it, which is why it's not sticking to my hand. I'm gonna punch it down, and I'm going to continue to let it rise for a couple of more hours, and then I'm gonna start working on our next recipe. So I hope you all enjoyed this recipe. Let me know if you make it at home. Hope you guys are all being safe and healthy, and I'll see you tomorrow.